India has become the fourth largest economy in the world. The size of the Indian economy is now $4 trillion. In fact, IMF in its World Economic Outlook has projected that Indian GDP will be around $4.19 trillion by the end of FY 2025. To talk more on this, I have with me leading economist and member NITI Aayog, Dr. Arvind Virmani. Welcome to NDTV. What is your projection now? By when do you think India will become the third largest economy in the world?
So my projection, which I made in January, February of this year, is that in 2025 calendar year, because all the publication data is for calendar years for every country, and we have to convert, the World Bank, IMF both do, they convert individual, जैसे हमारी rupees की है, we have rupee, Japan has yen, everybody has their own currency, they are converted into US dollars, and those are published, and that is what we finally use as the metric to compare. So using that, we will be by 2025 the fourth largest economy. Now what does 2025 mean? You will not have 2025 data till the next year, no? 2025 December mein khatam hoga. So how will we know whether we have become fourth or not? That will you have to wait for this data to come out in January, February, March, whenever it comes out.
But what is your projection? By when do you think India can become the third largest economy in the world?
So third largest economy, my projection suggests that either in 27 or 28, 2027, 28. So overtaking Japan during 2025 and overtaking Germany, which is the next, which is now the third largest, by 27 or 28, definitely by 2028.
By 2028. So Indian economy will be bigger than the German economy.
Largest by 2028.
So the next question is, right. So the next question is that what should be the roadmap now ahead for India in terms of not only ensuring the growth momentum of the economy, but also for expansion of the overall Indian economy?
So there are many elements of it. Some of it have been the whole idea of Viksit Bharat, which Honorable PM has been talking about for many years now, where a lot of work has gone in department, ministries, NITI, etc., is also now spreading to the states. So there are many issues related to utilizing the demographic dividend in terms of the learning outcomes in primary and secondary school, in terms of matching job skills to the actual demands of the economy, and so on. But in the immediate future, I think one of the important things will be how to utilize this desire of much of the world to diversify the sources of manufacturing goods. So manufacturing, at least for the next 3 to 5 years, is going to be an important opportunity, but it is a challenge. So part of the strategy is to utilize the BTAs and FTAs, which you are discussing. We've already had FTA with UK. Hopefully in the next month or two, we will have an interim BTA with the US, and hopefully within a month or two after that, FTA with EU. Now these are going to play an important role in the next few years, not just because people want to diversify their sources of manufactured goods, but also because of the big uncertainty created, with all these actions on tariffs. So the FTA or BTA with the two large economies of America and EU will impart a degree of stability, because right now things are so uncertain that investment globally is down, as IMF and World Bank reports in April tell you. So this kind of FTAs put a structure on the future possibilities, and that helps those who are waiting to decide on investment opportunities, and so that will ease off or let's say open up the gates for higher investment and FDI into India.
Right, and in this context, the proposed bilateral trade agreement by the fall of this year becomes very important in the sense that also helps to address the uncertainty and the differences that exist both on tariff and non-tariff barriers?
Absolutely. So that is kind of what I said, but yeah, the uncertainty is not just with respect to taxes and tariffs and trade, which will be directly addressed by the BTA, because it will define tariffs, rates. There is, I do not know more than the newspapers have been speculating that there could be zero tariffs on 70, 80, 90% of manufactured goods, which is the important thing for the purpose I am talking about. So that, and anti-Bs, which are very important if you want to have a big increase in trade as envisioned by the President, US President and our PM. But what I am also talking about is general uncertainty. So the uncertainty is not just direct, it's indirect through the global effects. So American companies were investing in Europe, European in America. When everything becomes uncertain, they just stop. They say, okay, let us wait to see ke kaise hoga, what will be the outcome in the next, whatever, 6 months, 1 year. So that investment stops meaning not everything, but goes down drastically. So when this kind of framework reduces that general uncertainty, they say, okay, here is an area where now we know this is the situation for the next 10, 20 years, then they say, okay, let us invest here first. Baki jab uncertainty kam hogi to dekhenge. So we will see about the rest. So that general uncertainty is also very important.
You have importantly said that by 2027 or by 2028, India will be the third largest economy in the world. Of course, the next step then will be catching up with China. Is there any projection, any assessment you have made as to by when India can actually get at par or catch up with Chinese economy?
Yeah, so what I do is I take the OECD long-term projections for China and all the other countries for which they give projections, and I do simulations for our own growth projection from 6% to higher. And in my view, and given that Chinese growth has projected by OECD, we can, if we grow by in a sustained manner at around 6.3% for the next 22, 25 years, we will have virtually closed the gap with China by the turn of the century, which is 2050.
2050.
Yeah.
So if India grows by around
between, let's say, 6 and 6.5%, let's say 6.3, okay, then the gap will close, assuming that the OECD projection of China is correct. If they grow higher than the OECD projecting, then of course it will take longer.
But for that to happen, at what speed?
So it's an indicative thing that at least it's realistic to think that
and
it will happen by 2050. Nobody can predict exactly what the future is.
Of course, it's a long-term assessment. But for that to happen, what should be the speed of economic growth that India has to target for next 20 years?
That is what I was saying, around 6.2, 6.3, around 6.3 on a sustained basis. Right? So that is an average for 22 years. That's a big thing. So right now it will have to be around 6.5 or higher initially, because generally what we see is as the gap closes, as we reach the frontier, then the growth tends to slow down in every country. Okay? So we know that from history of economic growth. So right now we have to aim a little higher. Let's say 6.5, some people say 6.7.
Thank you very much for talking to NDTV. So in NITI Aayog, with my camera colleague Jay Narayan, Himanshu Shekhar for NDTV.